Alright guys, welcome to RC Mojo. This week, or rather this midweek-ish, we're going to fix the SCX10 after it free fell from the back of a tank. The panhard mount on the axle broke, which means there isn't anything to stop the axle to move side to side, which isn't great for the handling. The fix is simply to replace the axle housing. Quite simple, but I thought since most of these are sold as ready to run, a video might come in handy. Plus, we can have a look at cleaning and re-greasing the ring and pinion. It's quite possible to do this with the body on and only removing the front wheels, but it does make the chassis a lot easier to handle with the body off and all four wheels removed. It's going to be lighter and we'll get slightly better access to the top kingpins, which we'll need to remove. Right, if we flip the chassis over, we can dig in. Essentially, what we need to do is remove the suspension links, the dampers, and the knuckles. Before going in and removing the screws, it's not a bad idea to crack them off first, just to make sure you're not going to run into a stuck screw when everything's flopping around. We just use a 2mm Allen key to undo the screws just a little bit to make sure they're healthy. Ready to run trucks, especially, often have the screws done up rather tight, so it's good to have a quick check. As for which screws, we start with the long lower link screws that attach the lower links and the dampers. I'm using a low power electric driver. It really doesn't have much torque, so we're not going to be damaging anything. With those two out, we can rotate the axle and remove the top link screw. Next, we need to disconnect the steering, but since we also need to remove the knuckles, we're just going to remove them and leave the one that connects to the servo on the chassis. There's 4 kingpins to remove, 2 per side. The bottom 2 are quite easy, but the top 2 can be a bit tricky to get to. With the broken panhard bar, it's not too bad, but when we reassemble, we'll have to take a bit more care. So we can pull the knuckles out from the axle. We're going to need to pop the screw out on the left knuckle and disconnect the steering linkage. Then we just slide out the knuckles with the axle shafts. The short one just slides straight out as it's not connected to anything, but the long one we need to take some care over. We don't want to get the end of the shaft covered in grit and mud, so watch where it ends up. With all that done, we have the axle separated and ready to rebuild. And we also seem to have evicted a spider who set up home in the chassis. Thankfully, in the UK there aren't any dangerous ones, so he can just go off by himself and be useful and catch some flies. Right, before we tear into the axle, we need to remove the drive shaft joint so we're able to pull out the pinion. It's held on with a screw pin, so we just unscrew it and pull out the pin. Then the drive shaft will slide away from the pinion shaft. Next we have the 4 screws that attach the diff cover. Now these can be extremely stiff to undo, well beyond what my little electric driver can do. If you're going to use a big electric driver, do watch out for heat. There's an awful lot of friction on those threads, so if you whip it out with your Makita, you might just melt the plastic. With all 4 screws out, we can work the cover loose and remove it to reveal the innards of the axle. And considering this truck's been completely underwater a good few times, up to the windscreen in mud and generally mistreated, the inside looks pretty much pristine. Very nice. We're still going to clean up and re-grease it though. The ring gear and the pinion gear just drop and slide out, which is nice, but more often than not, some of the bearings will stay in the axle. For the outer pinion bearing, we can just use a large Allen key to push it out from the inside. The bearings on the end of the axle are a bit more fiddly. We need to gently rock them back and forth to work them free. Ideally, we'd push them out from the inside or use some sort of puller, but access is so tight it's not really practical. Now we can separate out all the parts so we can still tell where they came from. If I remember rightly, Axial use a molybdenum grease, which is a dark grey or black, so I'm not too worried about the colour. Plus, I can't see any grit in there, so it's all in good condition. However, I'm going to change to a blue lithium grease, so we need to clean all the gears up very thoroughly so there's no contamination and mixing. I find good old brake cleaner works a treat, and if you work on full-size cars, you've probably got a few cans already. If not, it's pretty cheap from any car part shop. Plus, we'll need a bowl and a small brush. With fairly fresh grease, just a good spray generally does the trick. Make sure to get right in between the teeth. A quick go around with a brush and another spray will remove anything that's still left over. The ring gear and the locker on this truck is all metal, so we can just get spraying. But if your truck has plastic parts, you are going to want to take them apart so you can clean them separately and give them a good soapy water wash after using the brake cleaner. It's also worth mentioning that you should really be using gloves with brake cleaner, and it should also be in a well ventilated area, not a small studio in a spare room. You can see the clouds of brake cleaner when I'm spraying. Not good. As an example of plastic bits, I'm going to clean up the diff cover as it's got some grease inside. You can give it a good clean with a brake cleaner, removing all the old grease. Then we wipe it down, and off camera I'll give it another wash with some soapy water, just to make sure there aren't any harsh chemicals left over. All the bearings, other than being a little bit greasy, are all in perfect condition. No rust or grit, they just need a wipe down before refitting. To check the bearings, once you've given them a wipe, inspect the seals, if there are any, and make sure they look tidy. Then pinch the inner race between a finger and a thumb and spin the outer race. If they're in good condition, you shouldn't be able to tell they're turning at all. It should be perfectly smooth. If it's seized, so the outer race spins the inner race, or it feels notchy or gritty, it's a dead bearing and needs replacing. Generally, as an outside indication, you'll notice the truck starts to be sluggish, the batteries don't last as long, and the motor might get hot, and if you spin the wheels by hand, they'll usually feel stiff. Usually by that point, you're probably going to be up for a full rebuild anyway. Right, with that all cleaned up, we can start putting it back together. We've got a brand new axle housing ready to go. It's a direct replacement from Axial, so nothing fancy. You can see the panhard mount at one end is missing from the old one. Usually on the SCX10 it's the other end of the bar that's the weak spot, breaking off at the chassis end. However, I've been upgrading this truck with aluminium parts, so the chassis panhard mount and the damper mounts are all aluminium, meaning the weak point is now the axle. Quite often when you add metal, all you're really doing is passing the weak point onto somewhere else. The plan is to keep adding metal to this truck, including the axle housings, but they're a bit out of budget for the time being. For grease, I'm going to use blue lithium, generally referred to as marine grease. It's designed to stay on the gears and not get washed away. It can be a bit sticky, and it will stain absolutely everything it comes into contact with, so keep it off your clothes. When building the axle, I start by adding some grease behind the pinion, just a small blob, and smear it around. Then I slide on the first bearing and fit it to the axle. The grease is going to act as an extra barrier to water getting in past the bearings. Same goes for the next bearing. I add some grease in first to fill the void between the bearings. When the outer bearing goes in, it's going to seal up and be completely watertight. If there's any excess, we can just wipe it away with a paper towel. On the other side, we can drop in the ring gear with its locker and two big bearings. Then add some grease to the ring gear's teeth, spinning it round to make sure it's nicely spread out. Now the diff cover slides back in and we screw in the 4 screws. As before, remember they're going to be fairly stiff, so watch out if you're using an electric driver. You don't want to melt the plastic. In the end of the axles we have the 2 outer bearings. Now I wouldn't bother popping them in just now though. They're a loose fit, so with a small tap they'll drop out to be lost forever. We'll fit them as we reinstall the knuckles. Back to the chassis, and we need to remove the remains of the panhard mount from the bar. Now there's not much to get hold of, so we need to use some pliers as we undo the screw. From here on, it's just reassembling, more or less, in the reverse order of the disassembly. There's going to be some access issues if we're not careful. We need to think about how we're going to get to all the screws without having to take more of the chassis apart. First, we're going to attach the panhard bar to the new axle and hinge it over so it's across the chassis. Next, we can slot in a bearing and slide in the right hand knuckle. To attach it, we'll thread in the lower kingpin just a few turns. The left knuckle needs the steering linkage refitting, which we can do fairly easily before the knuckle gets fitted. Now we pop a bearing into the end of the axle and slide in the shaft with its knuckle. And we can thread in the kingpin to keep it in position. Now while the axles are still floating, we can flip the chassis over and thread in the top kingpins too. We can just about get a straight shot to install them and tighten them up. Now you see, if we'd already fitted the suspension links, it would have been a bit of a struggle. Back to the bottom, and we can nip up the lower kingpins too. Next we've got the upper suspension link, then we've got the drive shaft with its screw pin, and lastly the lower links with the dampers. Make sure all the screws are nicely nipped up, and we've got the front axle rebuilt and refitted, which could be the end of the video, except I noticed the rear axle really didn't look right. If we look at the truck before we took the front end apart, you can see the rear wheel is sticking out way past the wheel arch, which it's not supposed to. After looking around, I found the left upper link on the chassis was broken. If we remove the 3 screws and pull the mount, we can see it's broken around one of the mounting holes and it spun around. I don't think it broke the same time as the panhard mount. I reckon it cracked some time ago, and it's just taken a while to become a problem. Since the plan is to make this truck a bit of a heavyweight with way too much aluminium, I'm going to order up a metal skid plate and some mounts. It's going to take a while to arrive though, so for now that's as far as we're going to get. It's a shame it's not back up and running, but it is almost there. Right, as always, thanks for watching. Like if you like, subscribe if you haven't, and leave a comment if there's something on your mind. Bye guys!